everyone, and welcome to the new Artlife video. I'm Mrs. B, and today we're going to create our very own strange abstract artwork using arches, colours and lines to decorate a wooden chopping board. Now, you don't have to use a chopping board like I did, but you can follow along and have a go at creating an artwork in this style, just on canvas or paper if you prefer. In the lesson today, I'm going to show you step by step how to create something just like this, and also teach you all about colour mixing so that you can create a beautiful colour palette and colour scheme that works really nicely together. All you need are a couple of tubes of paint and we can get started. For today's painting lesson, you'll need something to paint on. I've just written surface here because you could either use a canvas, you could use paper, but today I'm actually going to be demonstrating this task on a wooden chopping board. So really, you could paint whatever you like. You'll also need some acrylic paint. Today I'm going to be showing you how to mix colours using yellow and red, as well as white. So really all you need are a couple of colours that will mix nicely together like the primary colours, and you'll be able to make a massive array of colours that you can use for your task. You'll also need some different size brushes, some larger ones and some smaller ones for some detail. If you don't have some materials and you'd like to know where to buy them, have a look in the description below and I've added some links for your convenience. But before we do any painting, first I want to show you how to mix colours properly. Today I'm going to be showing you combinations of the two primary colours, red and yellow, along with some white. So what we will mostly get today are some oranges, some peachy kind of colours and some pinks. Now this same theory of colour mixing can be used with any other combination of primary colours. For example, you might choose to do yellow and blue, which means you'll get some greens and turquoises and mint kind of colours. Otherwise, you could use red and blue and you'll get more purple kind of tones. So the idea of creating a colour scheme with just these three colours here is by mixing different combinations of the colours. So for example, I might start off by using 50% of my red here and 50% of my yellow. That's going to give me a nice bright orange colour. Can you see that? If I add more yellow to it, which I'll do over here, notice that the orange is getting a lot lighter, a lot more yellowy. If I were to make another orange over here, but use more red, you'll get more of a red-based orange. The red is the more dominant colour out of the two, so you probably need a little bit more yellow. So you can see here, just with a little bit of mixing, I've already got a few different versions of these colours already. When you add in white, that's when everything changes dramatically. The more white you use, the lighter your colours are going to become. I've used a high amount of white just here, so it's a very light peach colour. If I were to add a bit more orange, that would become obviously a bit darker in its tone. Now if I just use plain red, I'll do it over here. And I'm going to add some white to that. If I add a little bit of white, you're going to get a bit of a dark, deep pink here. The more white I use, obviously, the pink is going to become lighter in tone. So I'm getting just yellow and just white now. So very, very pale lemony yellow coming through there. And this one only has a little bit of white in it, so it's a bit of a darker yellow. So just using 3 tubes of paint, I've been able to create a whole colour scheme here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 colours that I can work with my image today. The design for our image today is going to be kind of like arches or hills. So I'm going to sort of indicate for myself where these hills are going to go. One behind the other, as you can see. I'm going to do about 4 or 5. Leaving a little bit of wooden area free there. Now it's probably a little bit difficult to see because it's in grey lead pencil, but obviously this is a design that I've chosen. If you would like to do something completely different, you absolutely can. I'd love to see what you come up with. If you would like to share any photos of how you've adapted this lesson, that would be fantastic. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hill kind of arches just there. What I'm going to do as my first sort of layer of painting, there's going to be a few different layers, is get my beautiful yellow and red colour scheme ready and just paint a nice base colour. Doesn't matter which one, but have a go at sort of doing some darker ones next to some light ones. Got my red orange there. Notice I'm using a bit of a bigger brush for this initial background layer. So my yellow here is quite a transparent kind of colour, so I might need to go back in and give this a second layer once it dries. Whereas when you add a bit of white to it, it goes more opaque, so you won't need to do that. Try to make these edges here as clean as you possibly can. Just like that. Now you might notice that within my pink here, I've even added in a little bit of red, but because the colors are all really similar to one another, they blend in really nicely, and so you can't go too wrong when you're using a really similar color palette. So that's my initial base design. I will go in and add a second layer to my 3 kind of transparent colors here, and I'll need to do that once the bottom layer has dried. What I'm going to do now is go in with a smaller brush just to add some bordering kind of lines on each of my arches here. So I'm going to use my same color palette, so whatever color I use is going to work really nicely within the scheme, and I'm literally just going to add in a neat little arch there. My paint hasn't completely dry, but that's okay, the colors will blend. So you can make these arches thick like this one, or you can use finer lines. You can repeat them. but try to work with the shape of the original arch. And right now we're really just going in and adding more and more detail to make our artwork even more interesting. Remember, with acrylic paint, if you make a mistake, let it dry, because after it's dry, you can generally paint right over the top of it. What I'm going to do now for the third and final step for our beautiful arched patterned artwork is go in and add some detail. Now, this is a time-consuming task, but it is actually really relaxing and therapeutic, so try to enjoy it and be creative with the patterns that you create. In a previous lesson, which was all about lines and shapes and how they create pattern, I go on to show a few examples of different patterns that you could do. So just look out for a birdhouse lesson, and that will give you some real detailed ideas, I suppose, as to the types of patterns you create. But you'll be able to see a few different ideas as I'm painting here. For now, I'm just doing some spots. I'm obviously using the same color scheme, using the same colors in different combinations, and going back over, creating more layer of interest. And this time I'm really using quite a small brush, as you can see, because that will help me to get the level of detail I'm after. If you rush this part, it will end up looking fairly rushed, so I really encourage you to take your time. And even if it means doing this over a period of time, adding more and more detail as you go along. You can add as much as you want. The more the better. So notice when I'm painting, I'm adding details to the inside of the arches. You can even add details to the outside of the arches like this. And the idea is to paint layers of patterns. So I've, for example, painted some pink circles here. I won't just leave them the way they are. I'll go back in and I will paint some more pattern over the top. So obviously I've spent some time here building on my patterns and adding detail, adding layers, making my artwork more and more interesting. And you could literally do this forever. I feel like I could sit here and paint all day long. Try to enjoy the fact that you're painting rather than overthink the work. Just do what you think will look nice, and if it doesn't, you can paint over it. I think I'm done for now. Now, to make this useful as a chopping board, you will need to give it a bit of a layer of protection. I'm going to coat it in some resin. I can show you how to do that in a future lesson if you would like. Please just let me know in the comments. But for now, I'll just do that so that I'm able to use it as a chopping board, and I'll show you the result at the end. So it's as simple as that. I really hope that you've enjoyed the lesson today and had a go at creating your very own abstract patterned artwork. Please take a photo and show me what you've come up with in the comments below, and feel free to like our page and comment below with anything further that you'd like to learn. If you subscribe to the Artlife page as well, you'll be able to see future videos for more ideas on how to get creative. Thanks for watching.